I am a photographer, taking photos, traveling all around the world, displaying my work to people. These are all my jobs. People say when they look at my pictures, they make them think deeply. It's really satisfying. I feel that all the beauty I put into the photo goes down in people's minds. In this exhibition, people are especially attracted to one conspicuous photo.
I was thinking maybe China, but is it maybe northern Japan?
Oh, it's Korea.
Oh, it is Korea. Okay. Okay. Looks like there's a snowbank maybe right in front of me. You know, the photographer finds this angle with his eye, and that's what I appreciate.
Some other island that's off in the distance that's very faint, but it makes me wonder what it is, where it is.
It seems like a photo of a snowfield, but actually this was a sandhill. This is a photo of a nearby island taken from an island called Udo in South Korea. Yes, I've been falling in love with Shinan in Korea. I felt my heart fluttering with a new and warm landscape all day. Apart from the people that live here, has anyone been to this distant and small island? I like discovering and finding hidden beauties. I capture a moment of breathtaking views and the stories of the people there. And I pass the people's stories on to the other people who have not been there. This is the way I communicate with the world. This is Mokpo, the central city of the southwest coast. People need to pass through here to go to the islands of Shinan. I have traveled around Asia for over 10 years, but I still don't know the differences among the countries. It's because there is no border for nature. In the inclement weather, the ferry barely left the wharf. People are worried about my photographing, but I am actually thinking the opposite.
Yeah, I don't like it to be sunny all the time, because life isn't like that. Life isn't sunny all the time, so it's nice to see it in changed conditions. Today we have some rain, some clouds, and a little mist. I'm fascinated to see what we find, you know, see what's around the corner, see what's on the next island. It's really good.
After 2.5 hours sailing to Hongdo, the minute I arrived, I found a heavy rain waiting for me. It was a typhoon.
Hey. Wet out there, huh? Nice weather.
They come to the Korean peninsula early every summer. A typhoon comes without fail this year, and Hongdo absorbs it with every fiber of its body. I wonder what images there will be after the typhoon has passed in Hongdo. They do say the world is your oyster, and I am still delightfully exploring. As to what is next, I really have no idea. I'm looking forward to finding out, though.
When you don't have preconceptions about what you're going to photograph and you don't really see anything, and then something magical and mysterious and miraculous appears around the corner. It's very, very simple. It's just trees in mist, but so beautiful. And then just when I was photographing, a bird flew through the trees towards me and then just went upwards, and it was as if it was saying hello, nice to meet you, and it was a lovely meeting, so it made me smile. It was a lovely gift. So yes, I was very happy to find this little place here.
Okay.
Whenever people see my pictures, they ask me how I could find such wonderful places. And I always say I was just lucky.
I have due to run a marathon in 3 weeks, so it's perfect training. We really should be running up.
But I actually know this kind of legwork will bring luck to me. Whenever I go deeper and higher, nature shows its hidden beauty to me more. Here in Hongdo, nature rewards my belief as well.
And then it almost looks like some sort of kind of Asian antique painting, kind of calligraphic shapes, where the islands are actually beautiful, kind of almost negative space, kind of a wash, an ink wash over the rest of it. So it's...
After an hour of climbing, the view from the top of Hongdo was just breathtaking. Hongdo is composed of about 20 islands. The seashore is bordered by towering sea cliffs with diverse shapes of rocks. With the blue sea and green forest, it remains the most spectacular sight in the southern sea. Hongdo is one of over 1,000 islands in Shinan, and it's made me flutter for the last 2 years. Shinan is an archipelago of 1,004 exquisite and unspoiled islands situated in the southwest of Korea. Shinan is a place where time seems to slow and almost to stop. However, ironically, for a landscape photographer, Shinan is a cornucopia. Days and nights come and go. The sun rises and sets on endless, expansive horizons of water. Various creatures and types of food grow in the sea, and the people who live here eat those to live. Creatures, nature, and people depend on each other like they cannot live without each other. Shinan encourages us to slow down and appreciate our world. One cannot help but fall in love with this wondrous place, as I have. Huksando is the central island here in Shinan that shows how people should be in harmony with nature. Once it was the center of the Korean fishing industry, but the glory is gone now, and only some traces are left. The mountain and ocean around this place are such a deep blue, they are almost black. It has been given the name the Black Island. This has a sad story. In centuries before, people on the mainland threw political opponents out and sent them into exile here. But for me, here was a place where I could find unique beauties rather than historic incidents. While driving down a coastal road, I found a big watercolor painting by coincidence. Someone may draw it on the sea. It was a fish farm that occupied the biggest part of the Korean fishing industry. No people appear in my photography. I try to capture the atmosphere left behind, as I describe it, rather than specific images.
Whenever I see things like this that are quite geometric, that have been formed by ourselves, they fascinate me. I'm generally interested in kind of the juxtaposition, the relationship between the landscape, you know, the kind of the fluid forms, and the geometric forms that we humans make. Almost as if a kind of a watercolor wash is moving across a beautiful canvas, and somebody is coming in with these staccato, calligraphic, kind of kanji-like characters. It's as if somebody's drawing on the landscape.
I want my photos to involve the latent atmosphere of a place, such as memories, traces, and the history of time and humanity. They can be strangely surreal, atmospheric, and mysterious.
Creation is a kind of a combination of history and time and people, humans working in the landscape. It's almost out of control, not in a formulaic, artistic visual, which turns into something almost more beautiful than art, than any artist can create. It's as if we're all artists together creating this amazing masterpiece.
This year, the fish farm will certainly adorn the sea, and many creatures will grow here. When I returned to Huksando in the winter, I could see the remains of the richness of summer. The view of the fish farm seen from the sky is recreated in collaboration with nature and me through my small camera. On my way back, after filming a fish farm, I found another piece of work. It looks like someone painted the foreshore with creative patterns. If a superhuman being made a painting, it would be like these. After the water goes out from the foreshore, a natural painting appears. The tidal patterns, which look like the roots of trees, are a natural collaboration between the sea and the tidal flat and the sun and the moon. The mudflat that hides its existence when the tide comes and shows it when the tide is going out, and protects the sea from pollution and the mainland from natural disasters like typhoons. Extensive mudflats stretch out from the southwestern coast of the Korean peninsula. Shinan has the largest tracts of tidal flats around there. It provides a large and unique ecological environment between the sea and the mainland. They are the natural habitats for a variety of marine creatures, sea plants, water birds, and migratory birds. Of course, we are one of them.
Oysters. Here's to Shinan. Very good. Very salty. Excellent. Delicious. Thank you very much.
I've traveled all around the world, but Shinan was the first place where I actually felt I wanted to jump into the mudflats.
When you're flying over them, you see these absolutely exquisite shapes. These kind of floral, root-like shapes, where the water is meandering and all these little tributaries. They're absolutely exquisite. And when you get very, very close, again, you have these tributaries, but you also have cracks which resemble these things. It's nice to also be a three-quarter view where you can actually see very, very interesting shapes when the mudflats, you know, become denser, and it's almost like a little chasms that they create. The rivers flow through them. It's almost as if even if you're just standing, you know, a few feet above it, it feels like you could be, you know, thousands of feet looking down. You can't really get a sense of scale about it. It's quite an incredible place. I think you feel extremely humble, actually.
Humble.
Yeah, you realize how fragile and small we are.
Yeah.
Oh. Here, once you just get 10 feet or, you know, 15 meters out into the mudflats, and you're almost lost. You know, it feels like you could just sink and disappear forever. I don't know how the fisher people do it every day.
The tidal flats mean a bridge between the sea and the mainland. Also, they are a link between nature and humans. For the people who live here, mudflats are also a living foundation. In a way that has been handed down for generations, they catch only what they need to live from the sea. The villagers have stuck to their traditional way of life for hundreds of years. The most interesting thing in the mudflats was a small octopus. It is amazing that, even though the small octopuses are hidden in deep places on the flats, people can find and catch them with their bare hands. And moreover, it was my unforgettable memory to see people just cut up octopus roughly and eat it raw.
Comes out in this season.
Really?
Fresh ingredients from the mudflats make a table bountiful. Sometimes I don't even know what I am eating, but I am sure that it gives me a better and more precious experience than any fancy restaurant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've already visited 4 times in the past 2 years, and I always have no plan where to visit when I come to the islands. This is the way I take photos, and this is my attitude to my life.
I have expectations. I wait to see what's around the next corner.
Mm-hmm.
It's much better that way.
You don't expect anything?
No. You
No?
see what's there. It's like life. I'm sure there'll be an adventure waiting for us on the next island, but I don't know what it is. It'll be good.
Okay, very good.
Sometimes, in my dream, I become a tree. If I had a past life, I would have been a tree, I think. A tree that was just standing in the same place for hundreds of years, watching the people who were passing by and enduring the time passing. I would have no specific aim in mind, but to think that I am still alive and could just live my life for now.
My photographic work, I try not to have goals. I try not to have destinations and endpoints, because I always feel the journey is fascinating. It's much more interesting than the destination. And if we have a kind of an end point, we're almost destined to take a straight line to that end point, whereas what I love to do is make diversions and see what's along the path. And you know, when I see something, I go in a different direction and go around the corner and around the bend and over the horizon and behind the building and see what's there. And it's all part of the exploration of living, which is, you know, essentially, I suppose, what life is about, is exploring and finding out what it is about, even though I think when we die, nobody really knows.
Gagodo is an island located in the farthest southwest of Korea. The places I found here, including Shinan, remind me of my destiny. It seems like before I was born and became a photographer, my destiny to be here was decided.
It feels like the landscape somehow opens up, and it makes complete sense to me, because we're all organisms, we're all kind of connected ultimately. So to feel that, you know, it's me, the photographer, and that's the subject matter, doesn't make that much logical sense to me. It makes much more sense that we are connected, and that if you put out a conscious desire to contribute beauty, to relay the landscape's beauty, transport it to some other people. You know, many people don't have the possibilities that I have to spend hours in the landscape, and it's an opportunity to give those people also some of this amazing landscape. The two sides of the rocks, is a kind of almost a canyon. You have the back element of the island, which is quite misty, and then you have a lovely wash of very dark. As I put a red filter on, it makes the water go very dark, so it becomes kind of almost a black line. And then you have the tide, which comes at a white line, and then you have the pebbles, which is kind of a grey line. So
I've taken photographs in color many times, but I find black and white photographs more expressive, malleable, and mysterious. I believe that the subtlety of black and white inspires the imagination of the individual viewer to complete a picture in their mind's eye, which persists longer in the visual memory.
I don't want to be fast. I don't need high definition. I don't want to see the world in color because we see it all the time. I want my photographs to be more of a mystery, an interpretation, a catalyst for one's imagination. You know, there's all the colors of the rainbow you can use. At the same time, you can produce very beautiful work with the absolute simplest of materials. Black ink on white canvas, image we sommet painting. I like to spend hours and hours in the darkroom, kind of molding a photograph, almost like clay, almost like a sculptor. It's my process, this is what I do.
My actual work involves traveling around the world and taking photos. The rest of the time, I hole up in my darkroom in my house in Seattle. This is my second creative work.
The clouds I want a lot darker. Take out some light here, also with a dodging tool. It's got a long way to go. Okay.
Many photographers have given up analog methods to develop and print, but I still stick to them. I know I have to overcome the complicated process and chemicals which stimulate the sense of smell, but I love the moment when one picture is created in my darkroom. Nature provides me with masterpieces of landscapes, so I shouldn't worry about a little laborious work for myself.
This becomes light, and I'm trying to darken the foreground so it has the feeling of going into the image. This is too bright still. I gave much more in the sky now, which is too much.
Too much.
Too black.
You failed again.
Not failed, it's all part of the process. It takes me a long time to get there.
Okay.
I don't need or desire instant gratification in photography, and it is the long, slow journey to the final print that captivates me.
I like to respect what I photograph. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm a landscape fashion photographer. I try to make my models look beautiful. You know, the trees I want beautiful, the islands I want beautiful, the landscape I want beautiful, because it is. It inherently is. It has this just beautiful elegance, and I like to try to bring that out.
Some people say photography is a momentary art, but I disagree with this. My photos embody all the scenery and time through the lens in a shot.
I photographed yesterday and I photographed this morning. I'm sure I could come many times because the light will change each time also. You know, if you arrive at a place when it's still dark, the light is constantly changing. And I'd like to make long exposures sometime to see the cumulative effect of light on film and to see what happens, because it's something that we as humans actually cannot see. Leave my turret.
A lot of my photographs are made with long time exposures, sometimes just in seconds, often in minutes, and occasionally hours. Long exposures have a way of softening the image and making it otherworldly. Moving clouds and water can simplify backgrounds and reduce unwanted clutter and distraction. Questions are raised which are usually more interesting than the answers. Yes, I love these scenes which are made by time. They are having a long history of nature and humans. This is why I like the salt farm of Shinan most among the places where I've traveled. From 3 p.m. till sunset, I waited 4 hours for only one photo.
It's almost the difference between using a large paintbrush with very graphic shapes and a kind of small, fine, detailed paintbrush. At the moment I like the big paintbrush, stronger lines. Hopefully I'll find one before the sunset. The one that I have back there actually looks good, sorry. This one looks good too, but I think the original one is still the best. Patience is very important.
It was a unique scene, keeping the time enriched by seawater, the sun, and people. And then I put myself in with little time and effort. My last journey was to jeung-do. It took the longest time to get there, transferring between several ships. There are no cars and even no accommodation for travelers. It looks like a place where time has stopped. I seemed to be the first foreigner who had come to this island. So a middle-aged woman who gave me a bed was so excited. I had no idea what she was saying, but I felt happy as well. Nowadays, everything is faster, more colorful and noisier. Time is spent in bits and pieces. I like to present work that slows people down, makes people calm, and lets people feel they are in solitude rather than being intimidated. In a moment, I had returned to the scene as it was 10 years ago, or even hundreds of years ago. The beauty of the stopped time is captured by my camera. In these stopped scenes, the people who live there live in the same way as they did 100 years ago. Many pieces of life have been piled up for a long time.
There's one of those inside.
Conversations and eye contact between nature and humans create natural landscapes and the air that I breathe. Beauty was always here in the same place, but we just didn't realize it at the time. I've always appreciated John Lennon's words, "Life is what happens when you are busy making other plans." Based on my past itineraries, I suspect and hope that the road ahead will be full of interesting twists and turns. Therefore, meeting with Shinan was lucky for me.
I know I'm so fortunate to be a photographer. Yeah. It's sometimes not so easy. You know, just to take a quick snap of it doesn't really do the scene justice. So many centuries and centuries and centuries that have gone into this creation of this amazing place. And we should somehow pay homage to, you know, the beauty of the place.
I have been highly impressed with the Shinan archipelago. These days, it is not so easy to find such places of natural beauty where one can be seduced by pure nature. Earth, water, and sky are in such diverse and complex combinations and variations. I was able to visit Shinan 4 times in the past 2 years. Not nearly enough to fully explore it. One would need a lifetime for that. I'm eagerly looking forward to my next visit.